Alright, so today I'm back with yet another chapter review, and today we will go over chapter 295, which is a bit of a crazy one, as we jump straight into the heat of the Munchen City versus FC Barca match, where we actually see the first goal of the match. However, that's far from everything, as in this video we get to see who is the ultimate winner of the Neo-Egoist League, and which player has gotten the highest offer. But I don't want to say anymore, so you'll just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, please leave a like and a comment as well as join the Discord server. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to begin chapter 295, also called number 1, we start by entering a flashback into the moment where it all started for Nagi, which was, of course, right on the stairs when Ryo accidentally bumped into Nagi, which made him lose his phone. But somehow he clutched it by jumping down and catching it with his foot, and Nagi knows that it was thanks to Ryo finding him that got him to start playing football. We then see Nagi, who thinks back to firstly the time when he styled on Isagi's team in the first selection, but also when he betrayed Ryo in the second selection, as well as when the two of them made up and made the super goal in the Neo-Egoist League. Nagi thinks of the fire, the frustration he overcame, all of those in order to beat Isagi, and now he once again needs to become someone new, thinking back to when he, with burning determination, told Ryo that the two of them needed to desperately change, and while looking colder than ever, he asked Ryo to give him a new fire. Because if Nagi can't dream of being the world's best, then it's all over for the two of them. And then finally, we get back from the honestly pretty boring flashback and onto the real deal, which is of course the match between Munchen City and FC Barca, where we see Nagi starting it off by passing to Ryo. Ryo looks towards Nagi and tells him to blast off, and Nagi, a bit nonchalantly, just responds with, "Yes, boss." We then finally get a small panel of Bachira, which it feels like we haven't seen for about 3 years, honestly. Anyway, under him we see Ryo getting the ball and saying that in this match, at a minimum, Nagi and he need to make a case for raising their salary ranks, thinking that if they aren't in the top 23 after this match, then they will disappear before reaching their World Cup dream. Ryo says that currently Nagi is at the 11th spot, while Ryo himself is at the 16th spot, and he knows that if their value drops, then they'll be right on the edge of dropping out, and because of that, they need to change how they do things, and that they can't just go for their own goals, which we see right here as Ryo is passing, and it goes over to Nagi, who coldly just heads it away, because both of them know that they need to make plays that'll help the team win, and go all in on proving their value. Otoya, watching this go down, says that they are aiming for a devoted post play, and says that it's rare for Nagi. Meanwhile, Bachira, on Otoya's side, asks Nagi if he's getting scared. However, Nagi in his own head thinks that it's not like they won't try for their own goals, and that they can't forget to shoot when the moment's right. Nagi asks Ryo if he's right, and Ryo tells him that he is spot on, as Ryo thinks that if they stay like this, then they are as good as dead, and he then tells someone to enjoy the change as he makes a backheel pass. Now who is it that is getting this pass from Ryo? Well, it's none other than the Princess of Blue Lock and the future number 1 striker, Hayoma Chigiri, who we see is sprinting for everything that he's got, even making his Pink Panther come out, and tells Ryo that he's got a good eye and calls him a chameleon. Otoya looks back and is a bit surprised and says that Ryo isn't coordinating with Nagi like usual. Ryo also looks back and tells Chigiri that right there is his favorite angle, which is, of course, none other than the famous 44-degree Panther sniper. Now Chigiri doesn't just shoot a shot towards the goal, but he shoots one of the most perfect shots ever, which the goalkeeper obviously had no chance of catching. Anyway, with Chigiri's wonder goal, he gives Munchen City the lead, with the score being 1-0. After that spectacular goal, Chigiri rushes towards Ryo, and the two of them celebrate with a high five. Ryo thinks that this is going great, as he got his first assist, and then Nagi will. However, we don't get to learn what it is that Ryo wants Nagi to do, as we instead go back into the bastard Munchen Stadium, where we see the TV screen coming on, and someone saying hey to his little lumps of talent. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? Now who else could it be if not the goat and bowl cut of Blue Lock, Igo Jinpachi, who congratulates Bastard Munchen on their victory. We see some of the players taking a real breather as Igo continues, and says that the simultaneous match of England versus Spain just finished too, so they will have the full match results and bid values assembled. He looks serious as he tells them that they will now begin the final salary auction announcement, which will be live streamed to all teams in all arenas. After that we see Corona, Hiyori, the Rat, and of course Isagi all standing together. Isagi thinks to himself that the final rankings are finally here. He knows that the gap between him and Rin was about 50 million yen before the start of this match. And in this match, Isagi has given everything he's had to overturn those rankings. We then see Ego again, who says that he will now announce the 23 players who, over the course of the Neo Egoist League, have won themselves a place on the U20 Japan team. Isagi then starts to look manic as he thinks that if he isn't number one, then it's all meaningless. The players start seeing the bid starting to change on the TV, and Ego says that the glorious top offer of Blue Lock's number one is a bid of 240 million yen. However, we do see that it's Rin's name that unfortunately pops up. Rin looks up, but he doesn't really look shocked. Meanwhile, Isagi looks like he's lost everything. Everything around him gets dark, and he looks miserable. His eyes widen as he looks at the screen and wonders if this is for real and says that he's still unable to reach him. Isagi gets so insanely mad that he starts grinding his teeth together. Before suddenly Rin comes by his side, and he asks Isagi where he is looking and tells him to raise his head and actually take a look at the screen. Isagi then regains some hope as he opens his eyes, and on the screen he sees it. He sees his name right alongside Rin's name at the number one spot, with both having an offer for 240 million yen. With Rin's offer coming from his brother's club, which is of course real. Meanwhile, Isagi's offer is from Bastard Munchen. Rin from Isagi's side tells him that it seems like the world wants them to be rivals and says that it's fire. We then see a big panel of Isagi, who is having a hard time processing this as he looks ecstatic that they both tied for first place. The commentators say that he can't believe it, and that Yoichi Isagi also has a salary offer of 240 million, saying that with this big offer, he's tied with Rin. We also see the rat who's almost beginning to tear up. Meanwhile, Hiyori and Yukimiya honestly just look proud of Isagi. Isagi's eyes then go into his demonic state as he says that he finally made it to first place, saying that he can't say that it was a total victory, but this impulse to sell his soul for goals. We then see a small panel of Kaiser, who I honestly feel a bit bad for, as we see him on the ground scratching his head, and it looks like he's just lost everything. Anyway, back to the goat Isagi, who takes out his hand and says that he thirsted for it and put his life on the line, saying that this is the pleasure of being number one. And we then see this amazing looking panel with Isagi taking his fist towards his chest and screaming out of happiness all that he can, which he without a doubt deserves, as throughout all of his efforts and challenges, he's finally made it to the number one spot. Anyway, let's go over this chapter right away because this was heat. Now starting all the way from the start, I want to say that seeing some of the core players was so nice because I don't even want to think about how long it has been since we last saw Bachira, even though bro only got like 2 sentences. I was just happy seeing him because it had gone way too long without him. But obviously the person I was most happy seeing was of course the GOAT and the speed star Chigiri, who even got himself a goal right off the bat. And I can't lie, but seeing the Panther going into the goal was just so cool. And I'm always so hyped for Chigiri goals. Is it because I'm insanely biased? Well, probably, but they are still fantastic. And I can't wait for his other goals in this match because, let's be honest, he will obviously get a hat-trick this game. Anyway, leaving him, I also was happy seeing Ego. However, I don't know why, but I had hoped that he would say something about Isagi's goal. However, I'm sure that it will come a bit later because he must feel some sort of pride over Isagi and how much he's evolved throughout the Neo Egoist League. Now seeing real bid for Rin is going to be absolutely mental, and if it turns out that he will be joining his brother, then I can't wait to see how their overall dynamic will be, as it will probably be super chaotic and filled with siblings drama. However, I must say that seeing that bid actually made me a bit surprised. I wasn't one of those weird people who instantly went over to Twitter and started bashing the author over his choice, which I honestly felt disgusted seeing. But if you ask me, then I have full faith in the author, and this is his series overall, so I'm sure that he knows better than any of us how the story should go. The same thing could honestly be said about Isagi and Rin having the same offer, as I saw some wild things about that as well. Now once again, it wasn't what I expected, not at all, but honestly I quite liked it. I feel like it just sets up their rivalry a lot better than if any of them would have gotten a higher bid than the other, as this means that currently they are considered equals, which I believe sets it up for a much more fiery and intense rivalry. But that's just what I think. Please tell me in the comments how you feel about all of this, and if you like Isagi and Rin having the same bid or not. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.